Hi. Let's just wait for this to catch up. Hi guys, how you doing? It's been a while. I haven't got back into the swing of doing my lives like I used to. So I'm trying to get back into the habit. So I'm just setting up, making sure, here we go, everything is as it should be. And I'm setting that up so if anybody comments, I don't miss any messages from you all. So I just wanted to come and chat to you. What you'll see over the next few weeks, you may already have seen on the blogs and in our emails that come out to you every Friday. By the way, if you don't want the emails, I don't take offence if you unsubscribe from those. We'll get loads of emails. I try to put out some stuff that's interesting, the odd offer here and there, but otherwise, you know, if you don't want those, that's completely fine. Like I said, I don't take offence to that. But one of the things I realised, particularly recently having introduced the plasma into the business, is that the eyes are often the place that people start to notice their ageing, if you like, and the things that often bring them in to start with. Eyes are quite a difficult area to treat, but ultimately I thought I'd focus on those because everything I can do to help the eyes, generally speaking, will help the rest of the face as well. So by focusing on that, it gives us an idea of what we can do. The problems that people generally complain about with the eyes is dark circles, and in this light, mine are looking really dark at the minute, is the dark circles under the eyes, eye bags, when they go, you get the crepey skin, hooded eyelids, and the dreaded crow's feet that come out from the sides. And they're the main things that people generally tend to come in with concerns about. So basically, you know, what can I do? So I thought I'd spend 5-6 minutes. I'm not going to go on for too long for this, but I thought I will go through a few of our options that we can use to treat eyes. And as always, I'm going to start from the bottom layer and kind of work up to the more clinical at the end of that. Now, I don't know if you can hear, I've got a sterilising unit going on, so if you can hear hissing and fizzing in the background, it's that. So I apologise for that. Now, some of you won't have seen my new clinic either, so what you can see behind me is my new clinic room and some slightly dehydrated plants over my shoulder here that I'm currently soaking in the sink. So I apologise for that looking less tidy than it should. So product wise, we have to treat the eyes differently to the rest of the face. The skin around the eyes, and I talk about something called the periorbital rim, which is the bony rim where your eye socket effectively. So anything within the bone line here. And that tissue, that skin, is very different to the skin on your face, which is then different again to the skin on your body. Somebody once said to me, if you imagine the skin on the body as cardboard, the skin on the face as paper, and the skin around the eyes as tissue paper, it gives you a kind of understanding of why we need to treat those things really differently. And why your face might react differently to products to your body. Things you use on your body you absolutely wouldn't use on your face, and likewise things that you use on the majority of the skin on your face you wouldn't choose to use inside the periorbital rim. So getting a couple of key products in there is really important. A very gentle makeup remover and cleanser. We have a micellar solution option and a cleanser. So the micellar solution would be to take your eye makeup off, and the cleanser would be sort of more around the edges. You wouldn't be using that across the lids themselves. So that would be the option for the eye area for cleaning. And it is really important that we take that makeup off. It can irritate our eyes if it sits in the skin. It functions differently. The skin around our eyes functions differently, and we need to be gentle with it and keep it clean. Don't leave makeup on overnight. I know I've always been pretty bad with my nighttime routine, and I have learnt to get a lot better over the last sort of 6 to 12 months, whereas my daytime routine is nailed down. So I am trying to be better. So yeah, we need to cleanse it. And then we need to make sure it's hydrated, we need to make sure it's nourished. And during the day, I would be recommending Alumier eye cream. I do have a Teoxane version of eye cream as well. I've got somebody trialling that for me, literally as we speak. She's away with it in a little kit at the moment. So I do have 2 options for eye cream. But at night, the other thing that you do really need to think about, particularly if your eyes are your area of concern, is a retinol. But you never ever want to use the face retinol for the eye area. Like I've just said, it's a different type of skin. So we have an eye specific retinol that specifically for this area. and you're going to use that at night on clean skin. And as with any retinol product, you start off twice a week, and if your skin tolerates that, then you would increase and add another night in until eventually you're using the retinol on every night. You can then use the Alumier, the eye cream afterwards, which, like I said, is hydrating. It's good for a little bit of lymphatic drainage. It helps with making the dark circles look less visible, and it sits very nicely under your sunscreen to keep you the hydration going in that area. So as ever, first line products, really important. If you haven't had an Alumier or a skincare and a home care product consultation with me, do let me know. There's no obligation to buy anything, and I email all those recommendations across to you. I don't stand you in front of a cupboard and say what are you going to buy or anything like that. It's for me to recommend the right ingredients for your skin. There's a whole plethora of ingredients out there, and what you get when you buy products from me is me as well. So if it's not going according to plan, or if you think you can't remember what you needed to do with that thing, you get to talk to me. You can liaise with me. Usually the quickest way is on social media or email, and you can say to me, I don't know what I'm doing with this product, or my skin doesn't feel like I was expecting, or whatever it is. So with any of these things, you can have that consultation, you can find out what I recommend for your skin, and then if you do decide to go ahead with those products, you've got me to liaise back to if it isn't going according to plan. So that's a really important thing to remember. And then we move into treatments that we can do in the clinic. And the first line of all of those, as ever, would be facials and chemical peels. Now, because of the nature of the skin around here, I'm not going to be peeling right up to your eyeballs. But that being said, most of the products are suitable for going kind of through the brow line or across that bone, and again across the bone under here. I wouldn't be bringing it right up under there, but you can target the crow's feet that come further out with the peels. I'm not going to be doing this very delicate bit, but it is a start for getting this skin functioning much better, keeping it hydrated, keeping the skin cell turnover going. So chemical peels are relevant when we're talking about eyes. So it is for sort of general skin rejuvenation. If we're talking about really kind of loose lids here, hooded eyelids at the top, then your peels aren't going to be as effective because I can't go over that very delicate skin. But it is still a good place to start. The next level up, I'd be looking at something like radiofrequency. So I don't know if you can see, you can't see my radiofrequency device from here. It's literally, which side's which? It's on the bottom of that trolley behind me there. And that's a machine called a Geneo. And the radiofrequency is pretty good. You can kind of go right along this bone line, and again right along this bone line, and that helps stimulate and tighten. So you can go a little bit further than the peels with that. Great for the crow's feet, great for lifting and tightening the skin as a whole, which you do all of it and you're going to get a better result longer term. So radiofrequency is a valuable option. And then the next step would be microneedling, and we've got two options for microneedling. One of them is skin pen. So this is a CE marked device, FDA approved device. It's a very safe, very effective anti-aging treatment. It's also very good for things like acne scarring, rosacea, and those kind of problems. And with this, you can actually treat really quite close to the eye. The device, I'll see if I can put my hand on one, hold on. There it is. I knew I had there's my autoclave finishing. I knew I had a device, dummy one, to show you. So this device sits on the end of the pen. It's very safe. There's no risk of body fluids backtracking either way with this device. And then what you could do, I can adjust the depth. I'm going to put this down because my whole room slopes slightly and I don't want it rolling off. So I can adjust the depth of where those needles sit. I can go very deep for acne scarring, or I can go very, very shallow for around the eye. And so what we would do, this is an unused device, it was one I just used for demo, and so I can kind of go along this bone line in that direction. So what that does is actually get quite a lot of the upper and lower lid. Obviously I'm not going to be doing it over here, that would be silly, that would be dangerous, but actually what we're doing is targeting quite a lot of the loose areas, the bits that people are concerned about. All of these treatments that I'm recommending are like a process. They're ones, none of these are going to fix everything overnight, but all of them will give you some collagen stimulation. They will help with skin cell turnover. I particularly like microneedling. There is a little bit of downtime with this, very little downtime with anything else we've talked about so far, but microneedling really, really good for tightening skin. We also have Wow Fusion. I don't think I've got a device to hand. Wow Fusion is a microneedling device, but also we have mesotherapy. So what that means is you can actually deliver active ingredients into the surface of the skin. So this is a sterile Wow Fusion device. You can see, probably, I don't know how clearly you can see this in the pack, but there are a series of very tiny gold-plated steel needles in there. And this little vial here, you put the mesotherapy in, and that is then delivered to the skin. It's less sort of aggressive, if you like, than skin pen. There's much less downtime, so if downtime is an issue for you, then I would say go Wow Fusion over microneedling. And again, you can get quite close because we just gently pull the skin down and you can needle across that bone line to encompass quite a lot of the eye area. And again, none of these treatments would be just for the eyes. By doing the whole area, you're going to get a better overall result, but it means we can target the eyes more specifically with those treatments. And the products, there's a variety of products to choose from. It's a very bespoke mesotherapy cocktail with the Wow Fusion, and everybody gets something slightly different. And the last one that I can do in clinic from a treatments point of view, a regular treatments point of view, all of these I would be recommending at least monthly to start with ideally. You can do them less regularly, but obviously the results will take that a little bit longer. And then the last one, for very specifically for non-surgical upper and lower bleph, so blepharoplasty, which would be the surgical lifting and tightening of eyelids, which is right at the top of the tree of those layers, is the Plasma IQ. This amazing little bit of kit has really come into its own over the last few weeks for me. We've only had it a couple of months in clinic, and it's showing that it's really good results. It's not magic, it's not surgery, but again, with repeated treatments, maybe 2 to 3 to start with, you can target these very loose, the sort of crepey loose skin, sort of thicker kind of. I'm not sure I'd get a huge result on mine. I haven't had a chance to try yet, so I need to try. I might get a bit of tightening on mine, but the sort of looser skin underneath is where you're going to get the better results with this. Or if you've got the very loose skin on the upper lid, then you may well get some good results with this. So this is, you may have seen images online with the little dots. You get they look like little burns, and I don't know if you'll be able to see if I do a little demo on my hand. This is my demo electrode for this. Let me come to the middle. Can you see it? You'll see a little spark. There you go, little spark. I don't quite touch, you might even have seen, if you were close up there, you might even see a little puff of smoke. What you get from that is collagen induction, tightening, you get all the nourishing, the nutrients from your blood will be sent there because the body will detect that something's going on. You may be able to see, if this light's good enough, that little mark there, that's a little cluster of the little dots from where I was demonstrating it a few days ago to someone. I've always got little marks around here where I'm showing people how that device works. So the thing with the plasma, it is a much longer downtime. You're looking at 3 days before you can wear makeup that you will get swelling and redness. Those dots take a good few days to go, and you're looking really at about a week of swelling. I've had one client who actually had swelling for longer than that, and some that actually within 3, 4, 5 days actually aren't looking, no one else is going to notice anything's going on. And so you're looking at doing 2 to 3 treatments 4 weeks apart for that, and then maintenance ones maybe every 6 months. Again, it's not magic, it's not going to make your eyes look like a 20-year-old, but it will help lift and tighten, it will help slow down that aging process, which is what we aim to do with almost all of the treatments that we offer. So that's all of the in-clinic treatments that we can offer for treatment of sort of, like I said, we're predominantly focusing on eyes, but it is still for the whole face as well. And then the other option, something you may have heard of, and this is not everybody's going to be suitable for this, and that is tear trough fillers. I only use a product called Redensity 2 by Teoxane. It's a product very specifically designed and licensed for filler under the eye. A lot of people don't like the sound of that, and I totally get that. And but it is, if it's done properly, it should be done well and safely. The key thing with tear trough fillers is to make sure the client is suitable. A lot of clients are not selected appropriately, and quite often what that client needs is actually fillers in the mid-cheek rather than into the tear trough. So I would assess them. Sometimes doing both at the same time is the best result as well. And I do have prices that combine. Tear trough fillers are expensive for good reason, and to combine the two just helps sort of take the sting out of the cost a little bit. I do all of my tear trough fillers with a cannula, which is a much lower risk way of doing it, and I would only do it on someone that I thought would get a good result, because you don't want to go through a treatment like that and not get a good result. If you're prone to puffiness under the eyes, for example, you don't want to go down the tear trough route because it could make that puffier. But if your main complaint is dark circles, hollowness, and we've addressed sort of any laxity, any sort of crepiness by treatments and eye products, then it may well be that tear trough fillers are a really good place to start to reduce those dark hollows. I'm starting to think I need someone to do mine for me. And like I said, it may be that the recommendation is to fill here first or at the same time. So what I do with some people is I fill here and send them away and bring them back a couple of weeks later and see how that's settled and see what result they've got from that. And then if we want to take a step forward, we can then go in and do the tear troughs afterwards. And those two things can be done at the same time as well. If someone's new to fillers, they might not necessarily want to sit through both things at the same time, but we can, again, it's all very personal, very bespoke, and it's all driven by you, it's all led by you and how you want this to go. So that's a little whistle stop through all of the treatments that we can do for eyes. And bear in mind, facial fillers as well can impact on how the eyes look. So I said about the cheek fillers. Cheek fillers are really important. As we age, we lose this mid-face volume. We have little fat pads under the skin that make up our sort of facial features. And as we age, they start to shrink and gravity starts to take hold. So these kind of what used to be sort of small curves, half moons, actually start getting pulled down the face. You can see just by pulling those lines down how much older that makes me look. So if you loosen that back up and put your mid-cheek back in, you can actually make someone look younger and less tired by putting filler here. By focusing on mid-face, it also helps with the eyes, and it can even help with things like jawline. If you've lost a lot of volume here, you lose your coat hangers and everything heads south. So by focusing on sort of this middle part of the face can really make a difference to how you look, and no one will know that you've got fillers. So if anybody's got any questions on that, I will drop the booking link into the comments below this. So if anybody wants to book a consultation, if you've not seen me before at all, please do book an initial consultation. If I've seen you recently, then you can just book the treatment that you want, because chances are we've talked about this already. If I've not seen you for a while and you've not had injectables with me, I would prefer that you booked it as an initial consultation for fillers, and you can do that. There's options on those booking links. It should be fairly self-explanatory. So book those consultations, come and have a chat with me, and I can advise what the best place to start. And the more of those areas you tackle, the better the results are going to be. And like I said, we start right at the bottom. And actually, for most people, for a lot of things, I start right at the bottom with gut health. It can make a huge difference to how people look and feel, how their skin responds, how dark their eyes are, by making sure the gut health is in tip-top condition, and I can help with that as well. So all the way through gut health, skincare products for use at home, in-clinic treatments from chemical peels all the way to microneedling, and then your injectables. So, microneedling, plasma, and injectables in that order. So give me a shout, ask questions on the thread below the videos. Or message, if you prefer not to go public, then message me on Facebook or even email. It's glow@sallywagstaff.co.uk. So it's been great to be back. Come and jump across onto my Lichfield piercing page. You might have noticed I'm doing clinical body piercing there, and I'm going to try and do some lives in there over the next few days as well. So it's been great to be back. I'd love you to all come and see my new clinic, and I will catch up with you again very soon. Take it easy, bye.